Say goodbye to just clicking and picking. The future of giving begins now with the new Come Together movement. Download our free Community Pay It Forward app. It's your gateway to shopping with purpose and supporting the causes that you care about. You tell us who you'd like to support by selecting your mission. Whether it's helping veterans, feeding families, or supporting local schools, your purchases help fund real change. Shop like you normally do. No extra steps, no added costs. Just make your everyday spending count by choosing one of our partner businesses. Every purchase you make turns into real support. A percentage goes directly to your selected cause. It's automatic, it's effortless, and it's powerful. You're not just a customer, you're a partner in making a difference. Our app makes it easy for you to track your impact and share it with all of your friends. So why just shop when you can shop with a purpose? Download, select, shop, and support because your choices matter. When you shop with the Community Pay It Forward partners, no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. What if your story could power a movement? Every struggle you have conquered becomes the answer someone else is still searching for. At Community Pay It Forward, your mission matters. When someone shops with one of our giving partners, they can choose to support you simply by uploading a receipt. Your story gets shared, you get visibility, and you can share our program to raise up to 90% in referral awards. You have a story worth sharing. We're here to help you tell it. Apply today by using the QR code or at communitypayitforward.us. Because your story deserves to be shared. And at Community Pay It Forward, no one needs to go it alone when we all come together.
Born into a real fight wasn't right. Where can she dream here? Took a hold of her life, left at night, stepping out of her fear. Bring me home. How to look.
Great Wednesday evening to all of you. It is Community IMpACT. We have recorded this show partly because I have no idea how long this crazy idea is going to take. I say crazy idea because I wanted to do something that I really think that more people maybe need to do. A lot of times, not trying to get on anybody, all right? And first and foremost, I just want to say that I'm not trying to get on anybody. But I'm going to do something tonight that I think that we all should do. I'm also going to be doing this with another very important document. I just have not come up with exactly when I'm going to do that yet, because right now I'm trying to do all this in one day, which is just ridiculously poorly planned by me. It's all on me. We all know what this week is. As far as I'm concerned, It is just about the greatest holiday that we as Americans have. The 4th of July means everything to you if you're in this country. Saying this, I also understand that the 4th of July does not mean the same thing to everyone in this country. Juneteenth is very important for our African American brothers and sisters because that is when they gained their true freedom. That's one of the misconceptions about this holiday. This is not the day that we in America defeated the British and became free. This is the day that we told the king and the people of England, you want to be friends? We're friends, but you are no longer our keeper. You are no longer our ruler. We're going to do this ourselves. I'm going to read the Declaration of Independence tonight. I'm going to read word for word without changing a word in the New English Version. I am not educated enough to read as it was written. And I'm not talented enough to act like I'm from ye good old days, Congress and stuff like that. I can't do that. So I am going to read the Declaration of Independence. I'm going to break it down in a way that is important. Nothing I say tonight, I guess I should amend that. I probably, knowing me, I'm going to put my opinions in somewhere. But the things that I'm going to say tonight are true. They are factual. And if you need to know where we found the facts, you can always contact us. I have no problem sharing them. I'm going to read this document, warts and all. This document says things about groups of people that I cannot stand. The way that it portrays them. It portrays the First Nations people as heathens, I believe, or savages, one of the two. That just pisses me off. But we've grown up. I will also be doing this about the Constitution, where I read it as is with only facts, no opinion. Opinions are like your butt. Everyone has one and they all stink. We're going to do this factually. I invite you to join me on this journey. If you have any questions about it, please make a comment. Even though this is recorded, I will look at that comment. I will get that question answered. I will find the answer and I will send it to you. But this is not about my opinion. This is not about my politics. This is not about anything but the Declaration of Independence in honoring the men and women who have served this country since this document was first put together. Again, I invite you to come along. I invite you to have your opinions. That's not a problem. You can have them. I am going to try to keep my opinions out of this conversation. When we get back, in just 1 minute, I'm going to start reading word for word the Declaration of Independence. Do you want your business to mean more than just sales? Join the Community Pay It Forward family absolutely free. And when you join the Community Pay It Forward family with just a basic listing, you can turn your sales into hope, support, and community caring. You give your customers a chance to support a mission they care about just by doing business with you. It is simple. It is powerful, and it starts with you. Click on the link, add your business, and let's build something beautiful together. Because with your business and Community Pay It Forward, no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Here we go. Once again, no opinion. As written, this is the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence was adopted by the Continental Congress on July 4th of 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America are the ones who wrote and adapted this document. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume along the powers of the earth, the separate and the equal station to which laws of nature and nature's God entitled them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires they should declare the cause which impelled them to the separation. The explanation, okay, this is a break from the original text, but the explanation of this is an opening statement declaring that the colonies must explain why they are breaking away. It also reflects the Enlightenment ideas that the governments derive legitimacy from universal principles, not just tradition. And the laws of nature and laws of nature's God reference natural rights and philosophy. A historical context would be this preamble aimed to show the world, especially France and Spain, that America was not rebelling recklessly, but making a justified claim. This is the Statement of Human Rights. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I would actually like to add in my addition, all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted amongst men, deriving their just powers from the consent and the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, It is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Folks, I am struggling through this a little bit. This is a hard document to read. It truly is. I would, I'm not going to put it in the area of the Bible. Reading the Bible for me is so difficult because of the language barrier, but this is very difficult to read. What you just heard declares equality and unalienable rights, key enlightenment principles. Consent of the governed is foundational to the democratic legitimacy. The people have the right to overthrow oppressive government is one of the key statements in there. For historical context, directly challenges monarch and divine right. And it also justified revolution, not just as treason, but as an exercise of natural rights. We are back to the original text now. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. Accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing these forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariable the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute disposition, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such a government and provide new guards for their future security. The explanation here. This acknowledges that government shouldn't be changed lightly. This is telling them this is not something we're doing on a whim. This isn't because you gave us French fries when we wanted tater tots. This was real thought behind this. It emphasizes that revolution is justified only after repeated abuses. And it lays the groundwork for listing grievances. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. There are 27 different grievances that they sent to the king. Okay, and what we're going to do first is I'm going to read the section, then I'm going to read a highlight of the grievances, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to read the grievances as listed. So this section's going to take a little bit of time. Such has been the patent sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former system of government. The history of the present king of Great Britain is history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object to the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To provide this, let the facts be submitted to a candid world. Once again, explanation here. This establishes that the king has committed repeated wrongings. And it also prepares to list the specific examples. He has refused assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate or pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right unestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies and placed unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from depository of public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representation houses repeatedly for opposing with mainly firmness in his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise, state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent population of these states. For that purpose, obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of the new appropriations of land. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount of payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He has affected to render the military independent of the superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretend legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment of any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these United States, for cutting off our trade with all parties of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, and for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretend offenses, for abolishing a free system of English laws in neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our government, for suspending our own legislature and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in cases whatsoever. He has abdicated governments here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burned our towns, and destroyed our lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous of ages, and totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections among us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of welfare is undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. I do want to say again, this is the word as written. This is not, I don't agree with all of it. It's just the way it was written. The highlights of these 27 grievances as they go down. There was obstruction of self-government. It dissolved the colonial legislation, and it refused laws necessary for public good. The second was the interference with justice by obstructed courts and made judges dependent on the king. Third complaint was military oppression, kept standing armies in peacetime, made the military superior to civil powers. 4. It implemented economic restrictions, cut off trade, imposed taxes without consent. 5th, it violated violation of rights, denied trial by jury, transported colonists for trial abroad. And 6, the incitement of hostility, encouraged attacks by the merciless Indian savages. Historical context. Each grievance is tied to the real acts of Parliament by royal orders. Boy, it is amazing trying to go through this and use words that we don't use every day. And definitely in a structure we don't use every day. Some grievances refer to coercive acts. 1774, such as closing Boston Harbor. Others reference the Declaratory Act of 1776, asserting parliamentary supremacy. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. A brief explanation is this declares that the colonies tried peaceful petitions, and it concludes that the king has proven himself a tyrant. Your historical context on this refers to petitions such as the Olive Branch Petition of 1775. Nor have we been wanting in attentions from our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend us an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. This asserts the separation from the British people as well, and not only the kings. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for our rectitude of our intentions, do in name and by authority of the good people of these colonies solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. This formally declares independence, and it claims all sovereign rights of a nation. What you have heard word for word, some of it slurred, quite a bit of it slurred actually, word for word, how it was written, and a brief explanation without any input of my personal beliefs. It's just an explanation, and there were also some significant additions when it comes to historical context. So that's it, folks. That is the Declaration of Independence. There are 56 signers of this, representing all 13 colonies. And as you will see, they signed this at risk of their own lives. In Delaware, we had George Reed, who lived from 1733 to 1798. He was a lawyer and politician, served in the Continental Congress and later a U.S. Senator. He initially favored reconciliation with with Britain, but signed the Declaration of Independence. Caesar Rodney was a military officer and a politician, rode 80 miles overnight to cast Delaware's deciding vote for independence. And he served as the president of Delaware. Interesting fact there, isn't it? President of Delaware. Lastly, from Delaware, you have Thomas McKean, 1734 to 1817. A lawyer, later Chief Justice and Governor of Pennsylvania. Held multiple offices during the Revolution. Signed later due to an absence when the Declaration was adopted. The most signers of the Declaration are right here, Pennsylvania. George Clymer, 1739 to 1813. Merchant and politician, also signed the U.S. Constitution, and he helped finance the war effort. Benjamin Franklin, 1706 to 1790. Printer, inventor, diplomat. Senior statesman of the Congress. Negotiated the Treaty of Paris, ending the Revolution. Robert Morris, 1734 to 1806. Financier, known as the financier of the Revolution. Superintendent of finances for the Continental Congress. And he also later signed the Constitution. Benjamin Rush, physician and social reformer. Leading advocate of abolition and mental health care. Founder of Dickinson College. John Morton, a farmer and a surveyor, cast Pennsylvania's decisive vote for independence. He also died shortly after signing. George Taylor, ironmaster, and businessman. Immigrated from Ireland, served on Pennsylvania's Committee of Safety. James Smith, a lawyer and militia colonel, Irish born immigrant, served in Pennsylvania's Providential Conference. Sorry. Next, we have a couple of the guys that we always hear about, okay? Massachusetts, John Hancock, 1737, 1793, president of the Continental Congress, first and most prominent signer. He is the one with that big O signature. And his statement was something about, well, I wanted to make sure that the king sees it. Later, governor of Massachusetts. Samuel Adams, political organizer and revolutionary leader. Instrumental in organizing the Boston Tea Party. Later served as lieutenant governor and governor of Massachusetts. John Adams, lawyer and diplomat, draft the Declaration, and second president of the United States. Robert Treat Paine, lawyer and judge, prosecuted the Boston Massacre trial. Later served on the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court. Elbridge Gerry, merchant and politician, later Vice President of the U.S. The term gerrymandering is derived from his name. Gerrymandering is a verb, and it means manipulate the boundaries of an electoral constituency so as to favor one party or class. This allows you to achieve a result by manipulating the boundaries of an electoral constituency. A total freedom to gerrymander is the result they want. In New Hampshire, we had Josiah Bartlett, 1729 to 1795, a physician and judge, first to vote for independence, later governor of New Hampshire. William Whipple, 1730 to 1785, a merchant and ship's captain. Signed while serving in the Continental Congress. Later, a brigadier general in the militia. Finally, in New Hampshire, we had Matthew Thornton from 1714 to 1803, who was a physician, arrived late and signed later. Served as president of New Hampshire's Executive Council. Our founding fathers in Rhode Island were Stephen Hopkins, 1707 to 1785, merchant, judge, and longtime colonial governor. Our founding fathers in Rhode Island are Stephen Hopkins, 1707 to 1785. He was a merchant, a judge, and a longtime colonial governor. Signed despite a severe tremor in his hand. Delegate to Albany Congress of 1754. William Ellerly, 1727 to 1820, a lawyer and customs collector, replaced Samuel Ward after his death, advocate for independence and abolition. From New York, we had William Floyd, 1734 to 1821. Wealthy landowner, his property was occupied by the British during the war, and he later served in Congress as a state senator. Philip Livingston, from 1716 to 1778, merchant and philanthropist in English, helped to fund the war effort, died in 1778 while serving in Congress. Francis Lewis, 1713 to 1802, merchant born in Wales. His wife was captured by the British, active in New York's Committee of Safety. And finally, Lewis Morris, 1726 to 1798, landowner and judge. His estate was ravaged during the war, and later served as a state senator. Next, we have New Jersey. Richard Stockton, 1730 to 1781, lawyer and jurist, captured and imprisoned by the British. Health declined after his release. John Witherspoon, Presbyterian minister, and president of Princeton University, only clergyman signer, prominent educator of revolutionary leaders. Francis Hopkins, 1737 to 1791, lawyer, judge, and musician, as was Thomas Jefferson. Credited with designing elements of the U.S. flag, later a federal judge. John Hart, 1711 to 1779, farmer and legislator, fled British troops during the war, died in 1779 after years of poor health. And Abraham Clark, 1725 to 1794, surveyor and self-taught lawyer. His sons were captured and treated harshly in British prisons. He served in the Continental Congress until 1788. Virginia, George Wythe, 1726 to 1806, lawyer and legal scholar, mentor to Thomas Jefferson, first law professor in America. Richard Henry Lee, 1732 to 1794, introduced the Resolution for Independence, later President of Congress and U.S. Senator, from the influential Lee family. And yes, that does include Robert E. Lee. Thomas Jefferson, principal author of the Declaration. He was 1743 to 1826. Principal author of the Declaration, later third U.S. President and founder of the University of Virginia. Benjamin Harris, plantation owner and legislator, father of U.S. President William Henry Harrison, later governor of Virginia. Thomas Nelson Jr., 1738 to 1789, merchant and military leader, governor of Virginia, led Virginian troops during the siege at Yorktown. Francis Lightfoot Lee, 1734-1797, planter and legislator, brother of Richard Henry Lee, signed Articles of Confederation. Carter Braxton, 1736 to 1797, merchant and planter, suffered financial ruin supporting the Revolution. Served in Virginia legislature after the war. From North Carolina, we had William Hooper. He was a lawyer, early advocate of the independence. Property was destroyed by the British. Joseph Hughes, 1730 to 1779, merchant and shipbuilder, helped create the Continental Navy, and he died before the war ended. John Penn, 1741 to 1788, very, very young man. A lawyer and a member of the Continental Congress. Later served on North Carolina's Board of War. South Carolina, Edward Rutledge, 1749 1800, was a lawyer and the youngest signer at the age of 26. Later governor of South Carolina. Thomas Hayward Jr., 1746 to 1809, was a lawyer and judge captured by the British during the war. This is the second one that was captured. Signer of the Articles of Confederation. Thomas Lynch Jr. was a planter and soldier. Fell ill and died at sea while traveling to Europe. Replaced his father, who had also been a delegate. Arthur Middleton, 1742 to 1787, planter and political leader, imprisoned by the British. There's number 3. Known for radical views on independence. In Georgia, we had Button Gwinnett, 1735 to 1777, merchant and planter, died in a duel a year after the signing. County in Georgia named for him. Lyman Hall, physician and minister, later governor of Georgia, helped establish the University of Georgia. George Walton, 1749 to 1804, was a lawyer and politician captured during the war. Later U.S. Senator and Chief Justice to Georgia. Maryland signers were Samuel Chase, 1741 to 1811, lawyer and politician, known as a fiery advocate for independence, nicknamed Old Bacon Face. That's just not right. Served in the Continental Congress and later became an Associate Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, appointed by George Washington. Impeached by the House in 1804, but acquitted by Senate, helping establish judicial independence. William Paca, 1740 to 1799, was a lawyer, planter, and politician, delegate to the Continental Congress, and signer of the Declaration, later served as governor of Maryland, played a key role in creating the Maryland State Constitution. Thomas Stone, 1743 to 1787, lawyer and legislator, reluctant revolutionary who favored reconciliation but signed the Declaration after efforts at compromise failed. Thomas helped draft Maryland's Declaration of Rights and served in Congress, died young, reportedly after his wife's passing. Charles Carroll of Carrollton. Interesting. 1737 to 1832. Long life for this guy. Wealthy planter and the only Roman Catholic signer. One of the richest men in America at the time, added of Carrollton to his signature to distinguish himself from the other Charles Carrolls. Interesting. Served in the Maryland Senate and the U.S. Senate and lived to the age of 95, the longest serving signer. Connecticut signers. Roger Sherman was self-taught lawyer, merchant, and politician. The only person to sign all 4 major founding documents, the Continental Association, 1774, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, and the U.S. Constitution. He served in the Continental Congress and later as U.S. Senator from Connecticut. He was a key figure in designing the Great Compromise that shaped the Congress, House and Senate. Samuel Huntington, 1731 through 1796 was a lawyer and judge, president of the Continental Congress after John Jay, signed the Articles of Confederation and served as governor of Connecticut. His leadership helped hold Congress together during critical war years. William Williams. Wow. Mom and Pop liked the name William. 1731 to 1811, merchant and town leader in Lebanon, Connecticut. Delegate for the Continental Congress, joined in time to sign the Declaration. Longtime member of Connecticut's legislature and Council of Safety, helped fund supplies for the Continental Army. Oliver Wilcott was a lawyer, judge, and military officer. Brigadier General in the Connecticut militia, participated in campaigns against British forces in New York. He later served as governor of Connecticut, active in public service for over 40 years. I want to walk you through the states. So here we go. The 14th addition to the United States was Vermont in 1791. It was the first state beyond the original 13 independent republic that settled land disputes with New York. Kentucky, 1792, split from Virginia. Settlers wanted self-government. The 16th was Tennessee in 1796, formed from part of North Carolina's western lands. Early settlers petitioned for statehood. Ohio comes in as number 17 in 1803, first state from a northwestern territory and part of organized western expansion. Louisiana, land from the Louisiana Purchase, thank you, Mr. Jefferson, admitted to integrate new French-speaking population. Boy, them there French are everywhere. Canada, Louisiana, France. Indiana came along in 1816. Northwest Territory settlement, rapid population growth met this requirement for the addition of Indiana. 20th was Mississippi in 1817, split from Western Georgia secession. Cotton growing region was the main production. Illinois in 1818 from Northwest Territory, balanced free slave state ratio. There's a lot of talk on the free and slave states, how they had to keep the numbers even until after the Civil War. Alabama split from Mississippi Territory. Agricultural settlers demanded representation. In number 23, Maine, 1820, split from Massachusetts. Missouri Compromise paired it as a free state because of the addition of number 24, Missouri, in 1821. Missouri Compromise is what that was called. They get Maine. The North gets Maine, South gets Missouri. Admitted as a slave state, balancing Maine. Arkansas, western lands of Louisiana Purchase. Settler population reached its threshold. That's the reason Arkansas. Number 26 was Michigan, the Northwest Territory. Border dispute with Ohio delayed admission. And that dispute still continues today if you look at any sport. Florida came along in 1845, was acquired from Spain in the Adams-Onis Treaty. Long territorial phase. It was a territory for quite a while. And Texas, Independent Republic of Texas annexed, and controversial over slavery. I don't understand what it meant there, but yeah. Iowa, 1846, part of the Louisiana Purchase, balanced Texas's admission. Once again, Texas came in under as a slave state. They added Iowa. Wisconsin, Northwest Territory, once again was brought in because of rapid settlement. California, the first far west, like far west edition. Gold Rush population boom. Compromise of 1850 admitted it as a free state. Minnesota, 1858, 8 years after California, northwest of Wisconsin, organized territory with with sufficient settlers. Oregon came along the next year, settlers along Oregon Trail. Free state balancing the Kansas question. Kansas, which is weird to me that it says that, because I know that Kansas, look, being from Kansas, this was always something that was weird. Kansas came in 1861 as a free state, but Kansas was it was a deadly area, bleeding Kansas conflict over slavery, because the South thought it should have been a slave state. West Virginia, 1863, broke from Virginia during the Civil War as a Union region. And see, that right there is something I never knew, which was really cool. Doing this, I learned a lot of stuff about the birth of our country just doing this study. Nevada, silver mining and Union loyalty, admitted during the Civil War. Nebraska came in, Kansas-Nebraska Act territory because of homesteaders. Then we have, look at this, 9 years later, we have the great state of Colorado, the Centennial State, because of the mining boom. Best flag in the Union. Saying it now, best state in the Union. And because I'm saying it now, that's got to be true, because it is true. Everything I'm saying on here is true. Okay, that's my opinion. Best state in the Union. I love my Colorado. I really do. North Dakota Territory became North Dakota in 1889. Again, we have a difference of 13 years here. So in between Colorado and North Dakota, there was a 13-year pause in growth. Railroads drove the settlement. South Dakota in 1889, the same year, same as North Dakota, split because of political balance. Montana, 1889. Mining and cattle ranching growth. It was a territory for quite a few years. It was a territory for, 25 years. So Montana just became a state after 25 years of territory. Number 42 added was Washington in 1889. Oregon country settlement. Lumber and trade was the main reason why it was birthed. Idaho, mining frontier. Enough population for a statehood. Wyoming, first to grant women voting. Ranching and mining, and Wyoming is mentioned quite often in the railroad sagas. Along with Utah. Utah was first established as a Mormon settlement, and statehood was delayed over polygamy. In 1907, look at this, we're in the 1900s now. 1907, Indian Territory merged with Oklahoma Territory. Land runs brought settlers. New Mexico came about in 1912. Long territorial phase, Spanish and Native heritage. Arizona came out in 1912 as well, last of the contiguous states, mining and agriculture. So now you have the formation of the continental United States. Then along came Alaska in 1959, purchased from Russia in 1867. It had so I mean, look at that. It was in United States territories for almost 100 years, but it was not a state until 1959. Strategic importance in the Cold War. And Hawaii became a state in 1959, former kingdom and U.S. territory. Military significance, especially during World War II. The flag for Hawaii really freaked me out. When I found the flag for Hawaii, it really freaked me out because it still got the British flag on it. It was weird. So, Washington, D.C. is next. Washington, D.C. was established in 1790, and these are just the territories, folks, not the states. These are not states. They're not seen as states. They are territories of the United States. You can have your opinions on whether they ought to be states or not. I will just say this. If you are part of the United States, you ought to be a state. Established in 1790 by the Residence Act, it was created as a compromise between Alexander Hamilton, who wanted the federal government to assume state debts, and Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, who wanted the capital in the South. Land seceded by Maryland and Virginia to create a federal district not part of any state. Became the seat of our government in 1800. Residents can vote for the president since the 23rd Amendment in 1961, but have no representation in Congress, which just does not make a lot of sense to me. Again, opinion. That is my opinion. Next, we have American Samoa. It's unincorporated, unorganized territory. U.S. Navy administration began in 1900, formally ceded in 1900 to 1904. Only U.S. territory where people are U.S. nationals, not citizens by birth. Guam is unincorporated, organized territory, seceded by Spain after the Spanish-American War in 1898. It is, we have it because it's a strategic military base in during World War II and today. Puerto Rico, unincorporated, organized territory, Commonwealth, seceded by Spain in 1898, civil government established in 1900, U.S. citizens since 1917. No presidential vote or voting Congress representation. And the U.S. Virgin Islands is unincorporated, organized territory, purchased from Denmark in 1917 for strategic defense in World War I. Residents are U.S. citizens but cannot vote for the president. The Northern Mariana Islands, Commonwealth in political union with the U.S., became a U.S.-administered UN trust territory after World War II, covenant to establish Commonwealth signed in 1975, effective in 1986, and U.S. citizenship granted in 1986. Again, I'd like to make the point that this was, with the exception of like three things, this was not my opinion. This was not thought. These are facts that are coming that came up today. If you would like to know where we found them, please just let me know in the comments. I want to thank you all for joining me today during this more difficult project than I thought it was going to be. Um, as you can probably see in it, quite a bit of editing, trying to talk proper Queen's English ain't the easiest thing in the world to do. But we stumbled our way through it. I do want to thank you very much for joining me. As always, Community Pay It Forward is part of what the reason why we're here. We're here to try to help people. We're here to try to make sure people have an idea on what's going on. You can join our program either by becoming a giving partner, which is right here. That's all the giving partner information. You can join the family for free right here, or there's a 25% discount for this month. Or if you're looking for us, needing us to help you raise a little bit of money, join up here with the mission partner information. We will not have a live show on Monday. We will repeat this show on Monday, just to share this out, because this was a great exercise in learning about our country, learning about what makes our country. If you are interested in what we said, and if you'd like to talk to me, you can get a hold of me through my digital business card, my For My card, or you can use the green QR code up top to get on my calendar. You can support our show. Oops. You can support our show by going to communitypayitforward.us and using the QR code that's going to pop up right sometime soon. Use this QR code to send us a donation or send us or volunteer or help us out. All donations are appreciated. I ask you to use the code or the social media below. Any of those, go to them. Give us likes, give us shares, and comment on them. Let's help get us to the 100 people we need for TikTok so we can start going live on TikTok to do this. Let's continue to build our numbers, and let's continue to build a better presence and make lives better for as many people as we can. I want to thank you very much for joining me again. My name is Zach Clayton. I am the founder and president of your Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and these PAC channels. Coming up on Friday, we have Alan Holmes show the Master Connectors Corner. We had a really good time recording it, and I think it's going to be a really interesting show. It is involving a young man who is looking for employment. So join us at 7 p.m. East, 4 p.m. Pacific, and it's a shorter show. But you know what? It's a way to get your word out there. If you'd like to join us on any of our shows, please get a hold of me, Zach at communitypayitforward.us. That's Zach at communitypayitforward.us. Please make sure you love somebody out there, because somebody out there loves you. My name is Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels. Please like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Help us help others. If you've got an extra hoodie, don't give it to a yard sale. Don't give it to a thrift store. Put it in your car. Give it to somebody who's struggling with the elements. If you've got some extra food, give it to somebody in your community who's shut in. Give it to somebody on the street who's just trying to stay alive. It means nothing to you, means everything to them. I ask you folks to please never shut up. There are people out there who need to hear your story. When they hear your story, it could change their life. It could change their life without even knowing that they needed to hear your story. Don't talk senseless, but tell your story. Keep telling your story. If you'd like for us to help you tell your story, join us on Community Pay It Forward's PAC channels, on Community IMpACT, on Footprints Forward, on Alan's show. Join us with Les Simpson next week as we celebrate. And to you, to all of our friends here in the United States, whether you're Republican or Democrat, happy 4th of July. Let's remember the United States was born because of this day. This was not the day we won the war. This was not the day we won our freedom. This was the day that we told people we are free. Let's remember the importance of this day. Let's remember that we are a free nation. We are free to think the way we think. This does not make us different because we have free thought. It makes us different in thought. Just keep your thoughts with others. Thank you all very much. Happy 4th of July. For my family, both Community Pay It Forward family and the Clayton family, from my wife Adrienne, from my boys, from my girls, from my grandkids, from my parents, my brothers, my sisters, my fishes, dogs, everyone. Happy holiday. Happy 4th of July. Please love somebody out there because somebody out there loves you. Thank you. And good night.
Say, bring me home, out alone, you show me the way. You wanna hold the heart of Sunset Boulevard. Bring me here, 'cause it's not quite clear to be a part of Sunset Boulevard.
Say goodbye to just clicking and picking. The future of giving begins now with the new Come Together movement. Download our free Community Pay It Forward app. It's your gateway to shopping with purpose and supporting the causes that you care about. You tell us who you'd like to support by selecting your mission. Whether it's helping veterans, feeding families, or supporting local schools, your purchases help fund real change. Shop like you normally do. No extra steps, no added costs. Just make your everyday spending count by choosing one of our partner businesses. Every purchase you make turns into real support. A percentage goes directly to your selected cause. It's automatic, it's effortless, and it's powerful. You're not just a customer, you're a partner in making a difference. Our app makes it easy for you to track your impact and share it with all of your friends. So why just shop when you can shop with a purpose? Download, select, shop, and support because your choices matter. When you shop with the Community Pay It Forward partners,